In this video, I am going to talk you through how I am managing my gaining phase, how you can manage yours, and I'm going to give you some tips and help you avoid the mistakes that I made throughout gaining phases in the past. So the first thing is nutrition. So at the moment, I'm up on 3,200 calories a day, but how I got here was when I finished the diet and went to my maintenance reverse diet phase, bumped calories up to about 2,800, which was around my maintenance. So that was actually perfect. Weight had plateaued nicely and then weight stalled. So bumped it up to 3,000, stalled again after a couple of weeks, and now it's up on 3,200. So the thing with a gaining phase is you don't want to just drastically increase calories. I know it's great having the extra calories, the extra carbs, you want to pack on muscle, you're buzzing, but if you overdo it, you can end up gaining weight too quickly and then you just cut the gaining phase short. Like, you want to try and be in a gaining phase for a couple of months if possible. So the goal in the gaining phase isn't to drastically increase calories, whereas with the fat loss phase, it's a different mindset. You can really get it done nice and quick if you're someone who is adherent and sticks to things. And basically with nutrition on the gaining phase, it's just extra carbs. So like keeping similar meals that I eat on the fat loss phase, because I love those meals, increasing carbs around pre-workout with my Rice Krispies, fast digesting carbs. I train in the morning, I don't want something that's going to be sitting in my stomach. Increasing the portion of oats, increasing white rice, maybe a squares bar here and there. And that's the priority, because it can be easy to just like increase calories and then put a load of shit into your diet, to be honest, like start eating chocolate bars and sweets and stuff, and it's not really going to benefit you. So just trying to keep those similar meal structures works really well for me, and then having the meal prep done during the week, but then having more flexibility at the weekends, because I've been tracking so long now, I've got such a good understanding of my own body. I can be dialed in during the week, which works perfectly when I'm working. I'm trying to run my business. I don't want to be thinking about cooking in the evenings. I do not want to be doing that. But then at the weekends, I've got more time. I enjoy the flexibility. I can decide, okay, I'll have a homemade pizza here at the weekend, or I'll have something else. So that's how I manage it. And then training. So training at the moment, I've had to just adjust it around the hamstring, because hamstring's been playing up, got hamstring tendinopathy. So basically like RDLs, squats would catch it in the deep position, so I've had to adjust it. Still doing 4 gym sessions per week, upper lower. It just means I train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday now, and just swap some of those movements out for other movements that don't aggravate it. And then like still doing some cardio. I'm big on cardio, to be honest. I think if you're just in a gaining phase and you're not doing any cardio at all, it can definitely hurt you. Like, I noticed since my cardio has got much better over the years, I just recover better between sets, particularly on hard leg days. That time between sets, my heart rate comes down a lot quicker. I just feel much better. I feel like less out of breath all the time. It's just, I don't think it's a good place to be, just not having any cardio strength as well. But obviously there's a limit to it. Like, you don't want to overdo it, and I have done that in the past, where trying to run like 30 to 50 kilometers a week on top of the training on top of it. And what you will find is like trying to do both at the same time, you will definitely progress in both, but it'll be a lot slower. So like what I've done now is I just pick one thing to focus in and then kind of keep the other one at maintenance. Like probably with the bike work, I'm going to get a little bit of adaptation. I'm doing over 2 hours, 2.5 hours per week, an easy session, an interval session, and then like a tempo session with a bit of zone 2 in it. So I'm not absolutely hammering myself with all the sessions across the week. My intensity is managed for each of those cardio sessions, and then when I get into the gym to do my strength work, I feel great and I've got lots of energy. And then the third thing on the gaining phase is metrics and data. So like when you go from the fat loss phase to the reverse diet phase to the gaining phase, it can be easy to like let those good habits slip, because people just think they're done, they've achieved it. And like, it's fair enough, because like mentally you've been working so hard to get the fat off you, and then you get there and you're like, oh, I'm done, I've nothing else to do. But that's where you need to dial it in, particularly in a gaining phase as well. Like, really dial it in, keep your daily weigh-ins going so you can see the trends of your body weight. And like, you want to be looking at the trends weekly, not just one day. So if you see a big spike, which happens to me so much, like I sometimes wake up and I'm up 0.7 depending on what I ate the next day. So rather than panicking and then like dropping calories, or if you find you have a day where the weight is down, rather than slashing calories, just look at it week to week. That's why I look at my weekly average. How much has my weight increased week on week? And then I'm targeting like 0.25 to 5% of a body weight increase per month. Nice and slow and steady, because when I was doing a lot of running before, I ended up slightly over egging it, gained a little bit too fast, and then had to do a mini cut just to tidy it up. Now, if you're someone who's not in the gym as long, like maybe in your first year or two, you could target slightly higher rate of weight gain. You could probably go up to 1% per month, you'd be absolutely fine. But then as you get a bit more advanced, you want to limit the rate of weight gain, because essentially what happens when you start off first, you can pack on muscle really quick. Probably your first like 2 to 3 years is where you build a good chunk of muscle, and then after that it becomes increasingly slower and slower to build muscle. So you have to like let the increase be a little bit lower, and then obviously keep tracking the food. It's so important depending on like the goal, but my goal is to bulk up, build some muscle, slowly increase the body weight. So for me, tracking food is like going to be so important, especially going into the bulk where I have like extra carbohydrates, extra calories now, rather than just not tracking, eating extra based on feel, and then all of a sudden I'm gaining a little bit too fast. But also the flip side of that is, if you do notice you're gaining too fast and you're not tracking, it's kind of hard to adjust then. You're like, well, how much rice did I have? I don't really know. I've just been eating whatever. So keep that in for sure. Progress photos, I keep them in. What you will notice in a gaining phase, it's not going to be as drastic at all week to week. Whereas in the fat loss phase, when you get to the back end of it, each week it's just so cool, because your physique is changing in front of your eyes and it's changing week to week in your progress photos. You won't see that too much in a gaining phase. You will definitely notice yourself filling out, looking a bit bigger in your shoulders, your arms, wherever you're growing. And there will be like a little bit of fluffiness as you go through that. That's just to be expected. As much as people don't want to gain body fat, it is part of it. But if you manage like the weight increases per month, keep the metrics going, you can definitely minimize the amount of fat gain, which is what you want to do, because you want to stay in that surplus for a good few months to get the most out of it. And the fourth thing, like coming into a gaining phase, there's new considerations really for your mindset and your mental, because gaining is a lot slower than fat loss. Like I said, fat loss, you see rapid changes week to week. The visual changes aren't as drastic. The calorie increases will be a lot smaller, whereas if you're in a deficit, you can go cutting calories a bit more to see a more drastic change. Obviously you want to cut that within reason, that's safe, but in the bulk it's just slow and controlled patience, hitting your sessions every week, keeping the consistency dialed in. That's where it's so important, because you don't want to like be half-assing sessions or missing sessions on a bulk because you're eating the extra calories. And then if you're just like half-assing sessions and missing them, you're just going to start gaining fat. That is not ideal. And like I said, some body fat gain is normal. And another thing as well is the mindset. Sometimes people, and I've struggled with this in the past, is like actually getting the food in, because you're in a gaining phase, you got a lot of extra food. It is a great thing, but it's got new challenges, because sometimes you just don't feel like eating. Thankfully, I don't really have this issue anymore. I think with the cardio I do, that really just helps my appetite as well. So I have no trouble eating. But sometimes what works, and what worked for me, is like when I had a period when I was running quite a bit, I was struggling to eat 3,900 calories towards the back end of it. So basically I would have 2 higher fat days where I increase my fats and reduce my carbs, because there's 9 calories in a gram of fat, so you can like easily consume those foods. You know, like your peanut butter, your nuts, they go down a lot easier than some of the carbohydrates if you're getting sick of it. So hopefully that was helpful. You can take away some tips from that, and if you do need any extra help with that, my newsletter is in the description below. My Instagram is Alan Quigley Coaching, so if you need a hand navigating any of these phases, I offer one-to-one online coaching as well. Thanks for watching.